Greetings and salutations, guys. I hope everyone is doing well. Before jumping into these Dogman encounters, I've got a bit of news real quick. I have started a second channel called Jeffrey's Pastas, and it's strictly dedicated to creepypastas and scary voice acting. If you guys are interested in that, and you want to go and check it out, the link is in the description. Feel free. If that's nothing that you're into, let me remind you that this channel right here is my priority. This other channel is more or less for just entertainment. Follow the link in the description and smash the subscribe button. Also, my PayPal link is in the description and my merch link is in the description. I will be getting some new merchandise. I've got 2 t-shirts out and a coffee mug right now. With that, let's get on with the Dogman encounters. Our first Dogman encounter comes to us from a subscriber. This encounter comes to us from a woman who wishes to remain anonymous and from some town in North Carolina. So it was ladies' night and I'm driving to go pick up some of my girlfriends because I was the designated driver. My bestie lives on a rural road and all of a sudden a deer jumps out about 25 feet in front of me. I brake hard, coming to a screeching stop. Now, because it's a warm summer's night, my windows are open a crack. I smell a rotten odor coming from the woods where the deer had just come from. About 10 to 15 seconds later, this huge timber wolf-looking thing comes walking out on 2 legs, at least 8.5 feet tall and probably 400 pounds. It looked like a dog with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's body, glowing yellow eyes and hands like a human with 3-inch claws, and it roared at me and so many white huge teeth. I throw my car in reverse and back up about 10 feet. As it starts to walk towards me, I panic and lay on my horn and startle this creature. It drops to all fours and, in 2 leaps, clears the road and hits the woods. I drive away and start to cry and end up just driving home instead of going out. I've never told anyone or haven't seen this creature ever again. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing my story, and please, everyone, be careful and stay safe and stay out of the woods. Our second Dogman encounter. I live in Sarnia, Ontario, on the Canadian side of the Michigan border. Almost 2 months ago, a police officer friend of my husband's told him about being called out to a farm outside Corunna, still on the border but further downriver, to examine some horses. What he had found was 6 horses in a corral that had been bled to death from huge claw marks to their neck and shoulder areas. There had been reports of a lynx on the native reservation outside of town, and a young black bear had been trapped and moved about 100 kilometers away from this incident. But these predators, they don't kill like that. They will kill one prey, drag it away, stash it, then go back for another. These horses died where they were attacked. Just another one of those strange stories with no immediate explanation, I suppose. Our third and final Dogman encounter of this evening. One oddly silent night, I was hanging out with a group of my friends in northwest Michigan. We usually hang out every weekend and do things that get the adrenaline pumping. Everything from launching fireworks at personal property to invading so-called haunted graveyards at midnight with only the light of the full moon. My friends and I are an odd bunch of kids, or so I've been told, who have been best friends since back in the good old days of elementary school. That night bonded us through fear and horror of what all but one of us experienced. We live in a small county of Redacted, which is flat farmland with some swamp-like areas. We're cruising along the road when we pulled into a parking lot of a church undergoing construction. There were traffic cones signaling the areas undergoing work that we decided to take just for the hell of it. My friend Alex took 5 in his car and I took 5 in mine. Our plan was to go just outside of the county where it was desolate and mess with traffic with the cones we had acquired. On the drive there, we noticed that all the cows in one pen were huddled in the corner as if hiding from something, but we thought nothing of it. Upon reaching our destination, we heard a far-off howl, but because we were the adventurous types, we shrugged it off, thinking it was a common timber wolf. Oh, how wrong we were. The fog was very thick at this time of night, around midnight, I would say, and drivers would be able to see a few feet in front of them, and would not be able to avoid any cones out in the road. What a terribly clever idea, I thought to myself, as I set a few in the road about 15 yards from each other. After a very second that I had set the last cone down, we heard the howling again, but this time it received our full attention. This was mainly because it seemed a lot closer this time. My friend Cody insisting that we should leave and that it would be in our best interest to not have to deal with whatever was howling. But our attention was drawn away from the howling as we heard a car approach the area of the road with the traffic cones. After a few seconds of listening, we heard the car come to a screeching halt as it hit a cone. Knowing that we were in big trouble, we ran further into the swampy section of land. We heard footsteps on the round and rough sound of an old gentleman saying, "Damn kids!" This is when it got bad. We knew the old man had left, but we could continue to hear footsteps. These were much heavier and behind us. Cody said, "Make a run for it," but I must have been confused. Run to the car with "find a new hiding spot." As all my friends, except for a boy named Mike, took a right, I took a left. I came to the edge of a murky pond where I could hear something large splashing the water out just beyond visibility levels of fog. At this point, I had no idea that I was dealing with a Dogman of Michigan, and I was trembling as though I was in an earthquake. Mike and I had curious get the best of us, and we leaned forward a bit to have a look. The dim outline of the extremely large man came into view, but this was no man. The yellow eyes were staring me down as I examined the rest of it. I heard a small yelp, and Mike had made a run for it, but I stood still, frozen with fear. The beast was extremely hairy, with a snout and fangs large enough to bite clean through a man my size. I was fairly skinny and 6 foot tall. The one thing that really hooked me was that it was a bipedal animal standing on 2 feet. The beast's yellow eyes continued to stare me down, and I noticed that it began to move in my direction. I heard yells of my name. "Ryan!" I heard. "Ryan, hurry to the car!" I was relieved that my friends had not left without me, but more alarmed that the beast slowly making its way towards me. I ran like a marathon runner towards the sound of the voices, and I could hear the large splash of the beast exiting the water in my direction. I reached my car, and everyone was relieved to see me in one piece. We jumped into the car, and I gunned it down the road. And just as we got, the 7-foot monster got to the side of the road and clawed my car. Then it let out the most blood-curdling howl I can never forget. The worst part was I heard a return howl in the direction I was heading. Alex's car was in front of me, and I saw it stop and slide around the opposite direction of me. And I did the same when I saw a similar beast ahead of me. As we drove past the spot where the first one clawed my car, I saw the beast standing, just watching as I passed by. It has been 4 years since we encountered this thing, and I have not gone through a whole night without having a nightmare about the events that took place that day. We joke about it occasionally, but we mainly keep our thoughts to ourselves. Since that first encounter, I've heard all the call many a time, and now I know what lies in the woods of Michigan and Unredacted County.